Hey guys, what's going on? Thanks for tuning into the show. I just wanted to let you know that this episode right here, it contains explicit content. So if you got some kids around, if you got the dogs around and you don't want them to hear bad language, you want them to hear some really, really dirty words, I put them to bed. Other than that, enjoy the show.
He's saying that he would love to he wouldn't mind reducing his work rate, right? And I just told you about the schedule and everything and how rigorous it can be. Well, he's also saying that he will reduce his pay. Now, what's the real world application? Real world application is you can't get something for nothing. Okay, he knows that. Danny Carvajal knows that, and he's been making millions of dollars for years doing the biggest club. So if Danny Carvajal knows that, then I'm sure you know that. What's going on? Talks Radio, Tevin West. That's where you at. So today on the show, I wanted to talk about soccer. Now that's my favorite sport, but you guys listening, if you didn't know me personally, you would not be able to recognize that I'm the soccer guy. But I am. So shout out to my international community in Belgium. We're gonna keep moving. We're gonna keep expanding in there in Europe. But I'm really the soccer guy. Like I be talking about football and stuff, but soccer guy. You know what I mean? My little voting. I'm gonna put something in there for you guys. Thinking about starting another podcast, just strictly for like sports. For my sports people. You know what I mean? And I just would like you to participate in the voting. You know what I mean? If I put something out there for you to vote in, like participate in the voting. You know what I mean? So because that lets me know like where I need to move. I look at that. You know what I mean? Also, I'll put in I think the last episode I put in like would you like me to live stream on Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube? And I got one vote that says Facebook. So I'm gonna start streaming on Facebook next Monday. Next Monday is when I'll start streaming. So if the day changes, I'll let you know. But without further ado, man, we gonna get into this to the soccer thing. So I wanted to speak on an article about on an article that ESPN's Alex Kirkland and Rodrigo. Why do you don't even care about what their names are, bro? It doesn't matter. They wrote the article on November 28th, 2023. I mean, it's just recent, and it was talking about players willing to be taking pay cuts in order to reduce the schedule they play now. So after we get through talking about that, I wanted to tell you like why this matters. Because there's always a life thing I tie into it. Sports and life they they match up. So and I also wanted to go over what the typical schedule of a pro soccer player looks like. And well, before we get into that, I wanted to talk about why this is a thing. See, usually in soccer, professional soccer, you full-time professional soccer players can play anywhere from 40 to 60 games. No cap. No cap. No rap cap. For example, to hit home just how many games that is, 40 to 60. Um, the English Premier League teams are not only going to play in the Premier League, which is between 34 games, and then that's going to be games are going to be tacked on because of the EFL Cup, the FA Cup, and the Community Shield. Now, sometimes they call the EFL Cup the Caribou Cup. I think it used to be like the League Cup, but anyway, the FA Cup is like the oldest. I think it's like the oldest tournament in the world for sports. Definitely for soccer. So England and Scotland like started like the first you know rules oriented version of soccer, which it would be called association football. But uh, being in the Premier League, and then on top of that, some teams like the top four Premier League teams qualify for the Champions League, which is the European, essentially like the top tier European title. And so all those games crammed together can be easily 60. So there's no light burden when Danny Carver or when we're talking about players and the schedule is being reduced. But before we go any further with the show, we gotta go pay some bills. So, a quick word from our sponsors over at Westside Healthy Cereals and Snacks. Somewhere between clogged arteries and heart disease, premature deaths, and late night clubbing and hookah sessions, we've forgotten about good old Father Time. Perhaps we ask ourselves, what are we really thinking? All that badass eating, smoking, and late nights ain't good for you. We should get the most out of Mother Nature's ingredients, not hinder them, and remind ourselves this ain't sweet. We can die if we don't take care of our health with our silly food. Marvelous things in this world we can produce, but you can't see that if you're stuffing your face. Westside Healthy Cereal and Snacks, keeping you alive at least till 75. Westside Healthy Cereal Snacks has no way to scientifically prove that our products keep you living till 75. We just say that because we can. You got to put the work in. You're gonna play. Professional soccer players play a lot of games, and so this article right here is talking about. It says players would cut pay to reduce football schedule, and it's coming from the perspective of Danny Carvajal. Danny Carvajal, for my non-soccer people, is a defender. He right back for Real Madrid. Boy been Spanish his whole life. I mean, he grew up in Real Madrid. Like, he Real Madrid to the core. So he's older. So you gotta think before you hear what these guys are talking about in this article and interviewing him and talking to him. You gotta think. You know what I'm saying? He's speaking on it because he's older. Danny Carvajal is like, I think he's 30s, and you know what I'm saying. He plays a very industrious position at right back. You know what I'm saying? So he would love for his workload to be reduced. Now, this is where that life stuff comes in, and I ask you to just, because he's saying that he would love to, he wouldn't mind reducing his work rate, right? And I just told you about the schedule and everything and how rigorous it can be. Well, he's also saying that he will reduce his pay. Now, what's the real world application? Real world application is you can't get something for nothing. Okay, he knows that. Danny Carvajal knows that, and he's been making millions of dollars for years doing the biggest club. So if Danny Carvajal knows that, then I'm sure you know that. So think about it in your life. Where's that area, you know what I'm saying, that you have to exchange this for another thing? What's that? I know for me, I'll give you an example for me at my job. Whenever these things called appraisals come along, supervisor asks you if you want money, time, or a little bit of both. Well, if you work for the government, when you get a cash reward, they tax you to death. So it's like, I'll just do the time. I'll just take all the time I can get. The point I'm trying to make is I I really, really favor time over the money. And it looks like Danny Carvajal prefers his body over the money. You know what I mean? He would prefer his rest, and where he can fully be able to compete. But I mean, these companies are gonna, these sports companies and these owners are gonna keep trying to put out as many games as possible. You can see that on the basketball side; they're doing the same thing. On America, America's finally catching up with what other countries do. What in soccer, you know, there's not just the league, but there's preseason friendlies, there's which are scrimmages, there's tournaments like I just spoke of in season, and there's the biggest tournament, which outside of your own league, which is the European Cup, right? But now basketball has a like a in season tournament, and I think there's a tournament being played while you're playing. I'm not sure, but to distinguish the different the different leagues they're in at the time, the court colors change. So the court colors are traditional hardwood, with the hardwood look, brown and all that stuff with the wax. But when it comes to being in the play-in game, the play-in or the preseason tournament, I guess it's everything's the court will look completely like a circus. I don't know how to explain it. It's just like all purple. If you're maybe the Sacramento Kings, shout out to the Sac, and then maybe if you're the Denver Nuggets, it's gold or something like that. So it's just eccentric, and I just think it's cool that to see how American sports are catching up to it. Watch what happens. There'll be promotion and relegation put in to football and basketball. It's gonna make your head swindle. I wonder. Those will be some unstable investments, but it's worth thinking about. I said players would be open to taking a pay cut if it meant playing fewer players, reducing their workload and avoiding injuries. In Real Madrid, I just want to let you know, for people who not really into soccer, I feel like it's important to really let you know. You know what I mean? I'm not one of those soccer. The soccer culture is rough, man. Like if you don't know certain things in soccer culture, at least in America, like the soccer dudes would be like, "You're lame. Sucks to be you." It's like, bro, you're lame. Like, kick a ball around. Like I will apologize on behalf of the soccer community, and at least in America, because like, dude, we can be douchebags, man. Like, we can be super douchebags. So, um, when I say like Real Madrid is big time, like they're big time. So I'm having to explain that to you because that's what's up. They're like the Los Angeles Lakers or the New England Patriots. You know what I'm saying? Just continuous success. But we're talking about avoiding injuries, reducing the workload. Madrid hosts Napoli Champions League. They play them in the Champions League on Wednesday with 8 players absent through injury. So Thibaut Courtois, that's Real Madrid's goalkeeper. Kepa Arrizabalaga. Arrizabalaga is the backup keeper. He's Spanish. Spanish? Shout out to Thibaut Courtois. Thibaut Courtois is Belgian. He's Belgian. So, you know what I'm saying? So, shout out to our Belgian community, our international community. Thibaut Courtois is Belgian. So, the starting goalkeeper is hurt, and the backup goalkeeper is hurt. So, you got to get a third goalkeeper. Eder Militao, he's he a young buck. He like a Brazilian. I think he's like an 18-year-old Brazilian playing for Madrid. Young buck. Eduardo Camavinga. Yeah, that boy go hard too. He French. He French. I mean, they had him in the World Cup. They had that boy playing like left back, but he's really a defensive mid. That's cold. Like that. How good is France? You feel me? To have so many options that we just put in Eduardo Camavinga at the left back, just chilling. Chouamini, Ariel, Chouamini. He a young buck too. I think like 23 too. He a dog in the midfield though. He missed that PK in the final, man. Ugh, made me sick to my stomach. You know, like when a dude is real good or the player is real good, and they make a mistake. You're like, no, not you. You're not built for making mistakes. He did it. I was so hurt. Luka Modric, you know what I'm saying? Everybody know Luka. Tottenham, a legend, official. He wasn't there for long, but Luka Modric, you know what I'm saying? He's hurt. Vinicius Jr., playboy, you know what I'm saying? Goal scorer, girl getter, you know what I'm saying? Bad boy. Bad boy. Just call Vinicius Jr., you know what I'm saying? Young Diddy or something, you know what I'm saying? Because he Diddy bopping all over the field. Like, he is really making moves. Boy be scoring in Champions League finals. You know what I'm saying? And then Arda Guler, he's a little He young buck, just like Eder. He Turkish young buck. They'll be scouting all over the world. They'll pick up kids from Mozambique, Madagascar. You know what I'm saying? They got like a little real quick. They got like a little. Spain has a little relationship with certain countries. You know what I'm saying? Like Real Madrid and Spain, country. They got a lot of connections in Cameroon. They got a lot of connections in. That's how a lot of the Spanish players. I mean, a lot of Spanish clubs be getting African players. They got a Morocco connection because they, they was locked in with Morocco. And then they got a plug with who else they got a plug with? They got a plug with Tunisia, I think. But they got a few other teams in Africa that they plugged in with heavy. And in South America, they plugged in with basically everybody. Anybody from South America, their next drop is going to be in Europe, trying to play for Barcelona, Real Madrid. Anyway, so in La Liga, for a top player, Danny Carvajal says at a top club, the calendar is very demanding. He told the news conference on Tuesday, with the new Club World Cup, we won't ever get a summer off. I agree with Coach Carlo Ancelotti and other people who said that there are too many games. But before we go any further with the show, we gotta go pay some bills. So a quick word from our sponsors.
Where can we go to find low cost but decent healthcare plan?
Lost Medicare, chip coverage player. Don't worry about none of that. Westside Healthcare gonna take care of all that for you. Emergency plan for when my badass kid stub his toe. What about me? I'm an old lady. I got 3 kids, but they ain't worth a damn. And they done left me at this house all by myself. What if I fall and break a hip? Will you be able to help me? Yeah, you know what I'm saying. Here at Westside Healthcare, we always gonna make sure keep your game tight. We don't ever want to leave you out on the bad foot. If you got any questions or concerns, just call us at our office here at 445-8286. That's 445-8286. We're out here over on Manchester. It's Westside Healthcare. Come get you some. Okay, for the last segment, or the last part of this segment, I wanted to talk about the actual schedules that the professional soccer players go through and just give you an idea of how much they play, and then why the salary idea that Danny Carvajal to lower salaries, while it sounds great, it's unrealistic. So real quick, I'm just looking at I got a spreadsheet here of when their training and their matches are. We're not going to talk about the training. We're just going to talk about the matches. The first week of the month, they got a match on Saturday. It's a league fixture, so it could be home or it could be away. And I don't know if you know about how the landscape of England goes, but you could be on the north end playing Tottenham for one game, and then your next away game is hours down south. You know what I'm saying? Somewhere, I don't know what's down south, maybe Southampton. But you could be playing, forgive me for my ignorance in geography. I'm usually pretty okay with that, but I wasn't sure. But you could be in a variety of places in a league fixture. You could also be home too. So the next week, so that's one game. Next week, so it's a Saturday that the game was played. They got a game on Monday in the FA Cup. FA Cup, you could be playing, a big league team. You could be playing a lower league team. But you're going to probably travel for that. That's the second game. So the third game is 4 days later, the same week, league fixture. Okay, we're just going to say that's probably home. You get a recovery session off. Next week, you're playing Wednesday in Champions League. Wednesday in Champions League is like Europe. So you could be, your English team, you could be playing a team in Serbia. You could be in a group with a team in Serbia, in Cyprus, in Turkey, and in Germany. So you have to go all three different places. So on a Wednesday night, you could be in Turkey. You could be in, and let me tell you something about these Turkish fans, man. Fenerbahce, Galatasaray, man, you picking up flares and they shooting out fire on the field, man. And you know what I'm saying? Like, dudes is throwing homemade whatever bombs at you. Like, it gets crazy on Wednesday nights. They got them big old tall gates up, like prison gate, like, you know what I'm saying, to keep people from running on the field and doing stuff to players. It's real out there. Another league fixture. So that's what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 5 games in 3 weeks already. All right, we go down to the 4th week, and we got EFL Cup, so the Caribou Cup, League Cup, league fixture, 6, 7, 8, 9. Champions League fixture. So you got 9 games in 4 or 5 weeks. That's ridiculous. Now let me tell you why Danny Carvajal saying or suggesting that players lower their salaries is unrealistic. It's unrealistic because you, Danny Carvajal, have already got your scratch, got your Skrilla. You've already been able to make your money over a long period of time. These other young players have not had the time to make their money. So they're not going to, and they're young bucks. They can go for games. I mean, Pedri, I think he's hurt right now, but Pedri had played something like, I don't know, almost 40 games like during that 2022 World Cup season where the World Cup was played during Christmas. So it went right back into the season. He played through all that. I think he's hurt now, but dudes like that, they got to get their chips, man. You can't. You're speaking from a position of privilege. It's like whenever I'm at work, and sometimes I remember when I had gotten like a trainer at my job, and God rest her soul, man, Pat, she's awesome, but like sometimes I feel like she spoke from a position of privilege. Like she spoke from a position of like it's different when somebody's telling you like you got to get better, you got to get better. Constructive criticism is cool, but sometimes I felt like she was speaking from a position of like, I know this and you don't. Why don't you know this? Why aren't you as good as I am? Like it would be like Michael Jordan running a team like in Charlotte. Like he owned the team, right? But he was a terrible owner. He was known for being a terrible owner, and he would be a terrible coach too. And all the players that when they go through interviews and how was Michael Jordan, when it came to practice? Because he's the GOAT. Everybody wants to know how he acts. And they would just be like, he's pretty much saying, why do you suck? Why can't you be as good as me? And that's what you have to deal with sometimes. So you just have to understand that, like, Danny Carvajal and people like that sometimes speak from a position of privilege because they've either been doing it for so long or they've always been good at it, and they gotta let other folks come in and make their money, man. This is sport, you know what I mean? Blood sport at that. I truly believe that soccer, and football and all these team sports that we pay attention to and we put on a pedestal and we give these players millions of dollars is blood sport. We want to see a train wreck. We want to see beautiful train wrecks. That's why we see it. You know what I mean? It's an escape from reality for us, from our regular lives. That's why we pay attention to it. But we're gonna move on to the next segment here. Before we do that, we gotta pay some bills. So a quick word from our sponsors at Holy Sheet Law Offices. Oh man, what's good? You feel me? I'm hurt. How can I get my groove back? Been hurt? Been harmed in an accident, big dog? Don't worry. With the law offices of Holy Sheet, we can get you paid and send on your way. Oh man, what's good? You feel me? Nah, I was hurt in a bad way. You feel me? But the law offices of Holy Sheet, the boys, they did it. It changed the forecast for me. I'm not gonna lie. At the law offices of Holy Sheet, you know what I'm saying? You're gonna receive hella good instruction on how to deal with your baby mamas, you know what I'm saying? And the law offices of Holy Sheet, you know what I'm saying? You're gonna receive hella good counseling on, you know what I'm saying, on where to put your little extras, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Make sure the boys don't take it from you, know what I'm saying? And Holy Sheet, you know what I'm saying? You're gonna do extra things, you know what I'm saying? Hella good things, you know what I'm saying? To make sure that your extras right, you know what I'm saying? Make sure your nuptials right, you know what I'm saying? Make sure your fetty, your skrilla, your scratch is ready. So come on down and see us at Holy Sheet, you know what I'm saying? We down here on 55 Bon Bon Avenue. That's 55 Bon Bon Avenue. Come get yours, man. Holy Sheet. The law offices of Holy Sheet does not hold premises liability. Okay, so to end the show, I thought I'd take this time to tell you guys a bit about myself. I've talked about a variety of things on this show. You know, we go through sports, current events, special topics, random topics, but probably want to probably be good to share a little bit about where I come from and how I got to this point. I mean, I've shared a little bit about it with the music choice and stuff behind starting this podcast, but that's only like scratching the surface. So I was born in 1994, and I was born in March. Uh, and so March 10th, 1994, actually. So my birthday is actually on the on the uh, on the steel for the image of this podcast. It's me at like, I don't know. I think I'm in third grade. So however old you are in third grade, it's '02. It's March the 10th, because that was my birthday. I had like some money and I had a golden eye game for the Nintendo 64, and my mom got me a cake. It was blue and baby blue, like dark blue and baby blue. And my mom was right beside me. But so I was born in Warner Robins, Georgia, obviously. And let's see, when I went to Bonner Elementary, and then I went to uh, Mount Arthur, and then Bonner Middle School, and then Warner Robins High School for 2 years, and then Veterans for the next 2 years. And through that time, I discovered soccer, so I went to go play college soccer at Middle Georgia State College, Middle Georgia State University, but it was Middle Georgia College back then, you know. Um, well, I'll just kind of pick parts of my story to tell you, and then I'll go forward with all of it. But to go back, I was probably I was probably like 9 or 10 when I like really started to pay attention to how things were. I think um, I could tell you my love for communication, because there's it's not just I'm not just I this is my degree. I went to Middle Georgia State University and I got a bachelor's in communications and new media. I did an internship at Cumulus Radio for about 2 months. That's a radio station in Macon. I think it's like Cumulus, and then there's Clearwater. Clearwater owns iHeartRadio, I think. But yeah, I mean, I didn't really hang on to it very long, but I wanted to be like on the radio, like I wanted to be a radio guy, but I never really felt like I was getting that opportunity. But one thing I mean, it was it wasn't a really good internship, but I will say this about internships, like a lot of I don't know how a lot of internships are, but uh working for the government, most internships are paid. So I don't know if it's outside of the gate, like that's what we say, like government job, like outside of the gate jobs, like private sector. If you got somebody that's like doing an internship and they're doing it for sweat equity, I mean, I would just hope that it's an industry where you can turn a profit after you get done doing that sweat equity. Like music, right? You'll have a person who's new to the music game, and I mean they put out an album and stuff, but they're the company they're signed to might not put the album out for 2 or 3 years. What are they supposed to do for those 2 or 3 years? Exactly. So I just kind of look at it like that. You know what I mean? You have to cut your teeth in a certain industry uh, to get acceptance, and then therefore get the resources. That's just some industries. That's not every industry. So I moved on from there, and then I ended up just I actually was like working as a rec intern at a church for like a year, and then I went on a mission trip in the USA doing soccer camps, and then I came back and I was doing soccer coaching. I was coaching a soccer team. So around this time, I'm probably like 22, 20. Am I 22, 23? Yeah, 23, 24, something like that. And then when I coached them, and we did really, really good. We didn't lose a lot of games. And that's travel soccer, so it's really hard to be successful in travel soccer early. Like, you usually struggle. But I was lucky enough where I had success. So anyway, I once I got done with that, I did that for about 4 seasons. I think in total, like maybe 2017 to 3 years. I did it total 3 years, and I just left it alone. The whole time during that time, I had gotten a job working for the government. So that's what I was doing, and I quit. I quit for like a whole year and 3 months to go play professional indoor soccer, or what I thought was professional indoor soccer because they pay you, but ended up being very unprofessional. So, um, it's just a lot of moving parts to my story, as it would be with anybody's. I mean, I didn't even get to the part where it was like in high school, I only played 3 years of soccer. I only played 1 year of varsity soccer because my senior year I failed 3 classes. Yeah, I failed chemistry, math 4, and Spanish 2. That's what I failed. So I couldn't play my senior year. But the whole time I was like going to Cochran to train with the college team because I still was gonna go play. I actually signed a letter. I actually signed a scholarship uh to go there the day before we were supposed to have our first game in my senior year, which I wasn't gonna play in. So I'm sitting there with my future teammates, and supposed to be current teammates, Casey Zwitch, Devontae Mitchell, and DJ Garrett. Shout out to them boys. So it's like, oh, we are not we like we still have work to do. So I had to go up to Cochran and train and stuff while I was not playing my high school team, and I'm taking not remedial classes, but classes that will supplement me being able to graduate. Because if I don't get this off, I won't graduate. And then there was this thing called the Georgia graduation test, which they don't even have anymore. It's so stupid. They moved the goalposts in education. That's how you know, like, education in the public school system is really poor. So I had this thing when I was in school called Georgia High School graduation test. There was also a CRCT, but that was more along the lines of like if you were in elementary school and stuff. But they had this Georgia High School graduation test, and it was 4 parts. It was like language arts, social studies, math, and science. Okay, so you had to pass all 4 parts to graduate, and you had to have the grades. So it's like if you don't have the grades and you don't have all parts of the graduation test, they can hold your diploma. So I did everything. I ended up, making amends and passing uh those those supplemental classes, but I didn't pass the math portion of the Georgia high school graduation test. I failed it like another time too because they got me. I think they squeezed me in to take it like again, like right before graduate the walk. So when I walked across the stage to receive my diploma, I got a certificate of participation in my diploma, and they said I had to go back and um like go to summer school or go to some sessions that were in the early part of the semester, the first semester, or to get my diploma. So I walked across the stage, and then I went to get my little diploma card at the end. But like I didn't graduate, so I didn't have one, and I went in the line, and this dude named Coach Malcolm was looking, and he was looking down. He's like, I can't find his, and he looked one way to another teacher to see what, hey, I can't find his, and I was like, man, this is gonna be a very embarrassing moment because all these kids are, all my classmates and stuff, they're about to see that like I don't have my diploma, so I just quickly got out of that line and went somewhere else, and don't remember what happened after that night, but uh, I ended up taking the entrance exam to get into MGC, and I passed that, but I just didn't do well in the math, so I had to take remedial math. And then, so I was in college while I was taking the Georgia high school graduation test. So yeah, I was at junior college. You know what I mean? So I mean, my mom says that, like, because my coach had went up to me and was like, "Hey, you're not gonna be able to play this year." It was like after after preseason and everything. He's like, "You're not gonna be able to play this year." I said, "Why?" He's like, "Well, we don't have your high school diploma. You need a copy of your high school diploma to bring to the front office." And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, like, well, how on earth did I get to this spot? But I don't know how junior colleges work, if they just let somebody go through and have a GED or a high school diploma. But my mom says that the lady said that, well, he just one of the ones that slipped through the crack. But I don't know. I mean, I just feel like, and I was like, man, I'm not gonna be able to finish it. My mom's like, shut up, dude, shut up, just do your thing. So it's like I learned a lot of things about holding my composure from my mother, ironically, because I say ironically because you're usually supposed to learn that from the father. I'm not saying I didn't. I'm just saying I learned the majority of how to hold your composure from my mother. Whenever I would freak out or whenever I would have real life crises like this college thing, I'm telling you, I have no idea how I finished college. Like I did it twice too. I had a communications degree, and then I got a master's degree in business administration. Those are easier uh degrees or art degrees, but I'm trying to tell you, like, Tevin West was not built for college. No, like if I didn't have sports in undergrad, I never went to college. I didn't have something to stimulate my mind and my body. So for me, it was like I got to play soccer. That's why I went to college, really. But I ended up getting a degree. I didn't know that I was gonna go to get a degree. Really, I thought I was gonna go play, and then play in college for maybe a year, 2 and 3, and then go overseas or something. But I never pushed that button. I had a chance to push that button and go over to Iceland, but I never pushed that button. So uh, I let my dad talk me out of it. Oh, my dad's cool though. I mean, he was just worried. It was in 2015. Like, I think um there was something going on where on the east side of Europe where it was like Russia and Crimea. Russia invaded Crimea, and he didn't want me to get caught up in that. Even though Iceland's not, I don't think it's geographically close, but he was just worried about it, and so he talked me out of it. But he also almost taught me out of going to college too, because he was like, college might not be your thing, which it is not. No, like my dad has not been a liar when he said these things. He was just concerned for me. You know what I'm saying? Like I told you one of my episodes, my dad was the one that babied me. You know what I'm saying? My dad is the one that would give his skin off his back for me. He would literally give his last till he stopped breathing for me. Still to this day, and I'm 29. I'm a grown man. So yeah, I ended up finishing there and then going to get a master's degree in business administration, and I just really don't. It was really not easy, and I had to put my best foot forward because number one, I was working at KFC. I got a job since I failed through class. My mom was like, "Oh, you gonna get a job. Not playing sports, you're gonna get a job." So I got a job at 17. First job was at KFC in Perry, Sam Nunn Boulevard, at the Colonel's Buffet. If you don't know what the Colonel's Buffet is, dude, people will go in there and literally it's everything from the back and the front. So biscuits, macaroni, cheese, chicken, whatever. And the buffet sold the most. Yeah, I think you could get like a buffet and a drink with it for like maybe $8. We sold that all the time. But I don't think they have the Colonel's Buffet anymore because there's a lot to keep up with. But that's where I worked at first as a cashier. And my first day at work, I accidentally gave away $50. So um, the manager, Gidget Carter, shout out to Gidget Carter, she actually took money out of her own pocket and put it back in the register to make sure I didn't lose my job. So that's how bad that was at first. And then um I just remember being back in the dish pit and stuff, and like I didn't really like. I really wasn't like at the time. Wasn't really like, I hate this job. I was just like, I remember thinking in the back of my mind like, I don't want to be doing this 15 years from now. You know what I mean? Um, and if I am doing it 15 years from now, I want to be able to do it as a side job, something that's on the side. I don't want to be doing this. You know what I mean? So, but it's so weird because I would have dreams of like me working back there. You know what I mean? I don't know why. Like I always have those dreams of like working back there, and those are really, really like I didn't even. I look back at it, and those are like really, really like not hard times. Nah, I had still had fun. I always, in whatever section I am in life, whatever period I am in life, whether it's good or bad, I'm always finding a way to feel good. This is Talks Radio. I'm Tevin West. Have a good night.
I'm on a mission, and when I explode, you niggas better watch out. I took the locks out, I clear my motherfucking block out, before I pull a chop out and start aiming and touching shit. Nigga, stop to listen to the clip. You niggas can't fuck with this. I've been putting it down for years, and nigga, I ain't gon' quit. Little bruh has no fear, and I ain't no bullshit. See, I ride for the cause, make niggas shit and they draws. Just another little nigga on the rise, tearing down walls. You niggas wanna see me fall? Imagine that, and imagine me with 100 niggas strapped. I'm telling you niggas better bag back, for you fuck around and get your forehead cracked. Your face stuck with your head on flat, nigga.
They wanna see how I look spitting this shit. In the flesh, better express how I deliver this shit. Why you saying thanks? I ain't giving you shit. I pull up lit, smoking dank in the six. Getting 30 style now on a verse lick. So stay loving my style, sucking throw you off my dick. This shit is too easy and I'm making so quick. In the backseat, keep some dick. I ride with a click. Believe, bruh, scoop behind me. Hard to talk to, with some bosses you'll find me. Still underground, ghetto and grimy. Tick hit, motherfucking time. Before I eat steak with a square ass nigga. I'd rather start with player ass niggas. My shit in this veterans, no new beginners. Hit a little breadwinners. And in this rap shit, I'm a tip. I eat steak with some square ass niggas. I'd rather start with some player ass niggas. My shit in this veterans, no new beginners. Hit a little breadwinners. And in this rap shit, go relentless. Coming through, hyphy as hell, get in the mail. Two-way, hitting them back on the next tail. No horseplay, me and my niggas about mail. Don't fail the plan, cause you plan to fail. Get at me, whatever you want, I got for sale. My closest homie died and left me as clientele. So I'm still riding, still for gang of L. Stay far away from them niggas, I think I tell. This rap game mine, niggas thought I was lying. Now it's my style that you motherfuckers trying. But the only thing that they buying is the raw and uncut. Broadcasting live from the nut. What?
I'm southwest bound, flight 16 with 2 keys, a China white strapped on my back. I'm trying to see 100 G's overnight, yep, just like that. Me and my niggas take drastic measures to get the cheddar and time to relax. Get in the way, you get whacked, real niggas.
What?
Before I eat steak with some square ass niggas, I'd rather start with some player ass niggas. My shit in this veterans, the new beginners, hit a little breadwinners. And in this rap shit, before I eat steak with some square ass niggas, I'd rather start with some player ass niggas. My shit in this veterans, the new beginners, hit a little breadwinners. And in this rap shit, I'm a chemist.
Okay, so for the last segment of the show, I wanted to speak on the UGA football program. And I wanted to speak on it because I just wanted to speak on the UGA football program because it's a cautionary tale for our own personal lives that if you don't take your opportunity at the right time, it could pass you by. But, I want to end. I want to say that before I get into this, as long as you're alive, you know what I'm saying. You've got the opportunity, and you still need to continue improving on working on yourself until the appointed time. Let that be known, okay? and I got a word for the older crowd and the younger crowd as well, and the crowd that's in the middle called the adolescents. So the UGA football team, as you may know, was undefeated a whole year and they were 2-time defending national champions, and they played in the Southeastern Conference Championship on Saturday in Atlanta to determine between them and Alabama, University of Alabama's football team, to determine who will go to the college football playoff, which is in the NCAA, and it holds 4 teams. And out of those 4 teams, they get 2 teams that play in the final for the actual national title. Okay, I know that's a conundrum, but that was for my Belgian community. My shout out to our Belgian community, our international community. But for my American crowd, you know this. And they lost. They lost to Alabama and Jalen Milroe. Jalen Milroe was very competent in the pocket, and he was a very competent game manager. At the end of the day, he was a very competent game manager. That's how he won that game. But it went undefeated, 2-time national champions. Speaking of Georgia, and they lost at the wrong time. And I put a post on Facebook to ask people that I knew were hardcore Georgia fans, which most of the state is, mixed in, sprinkled in with a little bit of Alabama and Auburn fans. But I asked, I said, hey, can someone explain to me logically, without their fanboy, fangirl lenses on, why the UGA football team is not in the college football playoff? And I had a slew of people respond to that, which shows you how passionate people are about college football here. People will take the UGA football team over the Atlanta Falcons any day. FYI. People will take Georgia Tech games over Atlanta Falcons games. No, I'm capping. That's a lie. So one of the interesting responses I got, which I liked, it was from Aja Jordan. Shout out Aja Jordan. And she said that, it was a comment from Blake Manning, and he said they lost at the wrong time. Shout out to Blake Manning. They lost at the wrong time. I like that. There was other answers. Shout out to those who gave answers in the comment section, but I like that. I wanted to go with that. They lost at the wrong time. That's true. Even though I have personal feelings about it, but I'm a West Virginia fan. But I was born in Georgia, so I have an opinion about it. I'm of the opinion that there was some bias for financial reasons that may stem from kickbacks. To shout out to Brandon Behringer for bringing that up, kickbacks, or even betting odds. Vegas is real. For those of you who don't know, I mean, back in the old days, mob guys, when they first started the casinos in Nevada, they built up a little system in sports once they got a little, breathing room, and they were able to get everybody on the payroll that was in politics and in the police department. And they finally started betting on games, on the East Coast. They bet on college games, and they get guys to, that were on the team to do things so that the odds would match up and they could get their money. And if you don't think that there's somebody over our heads doing that right now, you're absolutely crazy. It's definitely some, not even pseudo. There's definitely corruption going on in sports. But I'm getting too far off topic. I want to get back on topic as to why this is important. Why the UGA football team not winning at the right time is important for a life lesson. And it's like this. There are times in life where if you don't take the opportunity at the right time, it could pass you by. Okay?
And there are a lot of opportunities that are time sensitive. Okay, now in reality, we were made to create. We were made to build. We were made to improve. We were made to evolve. So if one opportunity passes, you can rest assured, as long as you continue to improve, even when you're not continuing to improve, opportunities will come along. The difference is when the opportunity comes along, are you going to be ready to take it, as opposed to not being ready, and then opportunities keep passing you by, passing you by, passing you by, till at one point you just get comfortable, and you just become complacent. And I'm not a fan of complacency. Like, you can feel it, you know what I mean? But it a comfortability doesn't feel comfortable. It shouldn't. You should not feel comfortable if you're comfortable. You should be wanting to get out of your uncomfortable phase, or you should want to get out of your comfortable phase and get in an uncomfortable mode. And then you'll begin to like acquiesce in uncomfortableness until what it's just a part of you. That's how I see it. But when it comes to opportunities, like I said in the beginning, before I said all this in this segment, as long as you're still alive and you're still breathing, you have opportunities. Younger crowd. Don't let anybody discredit you because you're young. There's plenty of young people out here doing things. Forbes list has like a top, millionaires under 30 type stuff. You know what I mean? And it's not even just on a monetary thing. Like, there are people out here that are young that are doing things for the world. Greta Thunberg is one of them. She's like an environmentalist who's serious about her environmentalist duties. I don't know too much about her. I'm very ignorant on her, but there are young people out here doing things, man. There's so many young dudes and young women and that are doing things out here in the podcast game, just blowing it out of the water. And so starting businesses. I mean, as a matter of fact, Generation X, which was the generation behind the millennials, a lot of them, they for real grew up like as youngins in the housing market crash. So a lot of them, the college thing, they're not really buying that. A lot of them are going the entrepreneur route and making their own soaps and making their own, clothes. One of my workmates, he makes his own clothes. You know what I mean? He bought like a canvas sweater and like put his whole fraternity thing on it. That's his thing. Like, he likes to make his own clothes. He'll buy clothes, you know what I'm saying? But he likes to make his own stuff. That's what young people, you're the trailblazers for this country. Don't do not look at this country's past and say, I don't want to be a part of that. Because the reality is, this is where you're born. You weren't born in France. You weren't born in Vietnam. I'm speaking for the citizens. You know what I mean? You weren't born in Liberia. You weren't born in Cambodia. You weren't born in China, Russia. You were born here. This is the country you were born in. Make your way so that way you can be a part of building up the community instead of tearing it down. Because once you tear it down, there's nowhere else to go. And other countries, they won't be as accepting. I promise you. Okay? So, young people, don't let anybody discredit you because you're young. Okay? For my adolescents, it's more along the lines of the same thing. And I would just say for adolescent people, you're young too, so don't let anybody discredit you. But at the same time, in adolescence is like that period after 19, 18, even 20, I guess, where it's like 21 to 24, 21, yeah, where and you're trying to figure it out. You don't necessarily might not have a job all the way, a career, excuse me. So adolescence, I would just say, don't get complacent. Don't sit there and just coast. You got to figure out ways to break through that wall, because if you don't, you'll be stuck there. And especially for those of you who took out student loans. If you don't find a way to make it, because the student loan forgiveness thing, like, you can't bank on that. You can't bank on that. Plus, it feels really good to pay your loans. It does. If you've ever paid your loan, I have student loans. If you pay on, it feels really good to do it. It feels really good to get in front of it. But anyway, if you don't learn to push through this wall where you don't have a career and you don't have responsibilities, then by the time that comes along, because it's life,
responsibilities and careers and stuff. By the time it comes along, you'll just be like, I don't care, or you might not be ready for it. So just make sure that you're staying prepared for that opportunity to jump into, adulthood. And so for my older crowd, and that's 26 and up, because I don't have time to divvy it up. But the only reason I put everybody from 26 and up in a category is because there's this thing going on, and I've wanted to address it for a long time. I wrote a Facebook post about it a while ago, but I want to address it, and it's more on the younger of the adult side, and it's like the older side, the adult side. Yeah, I wrote the post and it says something like this. I can't remember, but it's like most people in their late 20s and their mid 20s already think they failed, and they think, at least in my generation, and they think that by the time you get to 34, if you haven't become rich and successful out of your wildest dreams, and you failed, that's because you have a warped reality. Younger, older people, you have a warped reality of what success is, and you've seen maybe a handful of people do it at a young age, which is cool. You should be looking at that. Younger people, look at that. You can do that. But if you haven't made it, first of all, you probably haven't even drawn out any outlines of what success is to you. You're probably just a lover of money. So you need to get your thinking straight. You need to get your thinking straight. Like, what do you define as success? Because if you just go at it like, I just want money, like, you're gonna be a bitter Betty. Like, once you get your money, like, you're not gonna be happy. And besides, happy is a fleeting. You know what I mean? Contentment, in terms of when you get to that spot, contentment with gratefulness is probably what you want to aspire to, because it'll keep you humble, but it'll also keep you understanding, like, I'm grateful to God for everything that has happened to me and for me. And it should keep you pushing along. You know what I mean? And it's only at that point that things start to change. But you still need to attack it, I feel like. But I haven't gotten to that point in life, so I'm only describing what I think I know. I'm at that career point where I'm working a career, but I have a side thing that I wanted to turn to my main thing, but I got to keep working it, and so I just keep working it. And so I would just say that the older crowd that's retired, so just to finish my point, for the younger, older crowd, you're not a failure because you didn't get rich at 29, 28. You're not a failure because you don't have the best looking partner. You're not a failure because you had a failed marriage or relationship. You're not a failure because of that. That doesn't define you. What does define you is if you keep going or not. If you quit, that does define you, because you'll be a quitter. Okay? So that means you take care of your body, soul, mind, and spirit during the downtimes as well. Yeah? That means getting up and going to the gym when you don't want to, eating that fruit salad when you don't want to, putting the light vinaigrette on your dressing as you're dressing instead of the big old ranch that the big old ranch tub that you can't see through. It means picking up. It means picking up where you left off, mate. In a positive way. You cannot quit. Don't quit. So for my older crowd, my older in age crowd, I would tell you, just because you're in that period where you might be content and grateful and successful and rich and all that stuff, and about to retire or retired, but the coasting in your old age, it's not acceptable. Let me tell you why it's not acceptable. Because you still may be called to do great things and be an influence and give your testimony. For example, Johnny Cash was probably in his 70s or his 80s when he won a Grammy. I'm not sure if it was his first Grammy, but he won a Grammy like in the 90s for an album that he made, and it was just like Rick Rubin pulled him out of basically like he wasn't doing any music. He stopped doing music like 20 years ago, I think. Like for real. And he pulled him out of the dungeon and he got him working again. And before you know, he won a Grammy. On another side, I mean, in the Bible, man, God called Abraham to go out and find out, or God called Abraham out of the land of Mesopotamia. And he called him to go wander in the land that would be Israel. He called him when he was 70 years old, guys. Like Abraham went through like teenage years, adolescent years, young adult years, older adult years, into senior citizenship. And that's when God finally called him to start doing his thing. Okay? Even like later on, God called Moses, to go speak on behalf of the enslaved Israelites and free God's people when he was how old? 80. That's right. God called Moses out of the wilderness, that he was in, because he had ran away from the Egyptians. He was a part of the Egyptian. He was a part of Pharaoh's court. He had been grafted into that family, but he killed a man for beating an Israelite, and he ran away for a long time. And then God called him, to go speak to Pharaoh in his face when he was 80 years old. So, if you don't think that you have influence or purpose past the age of 50 and 60, then I'm going to be honest with you. You're completely misguided. Oh, you thought I was going to tell you go like jump in a grave or something? No. No, you're misguided. You can get off the misguided train. That's the thing. But with that being said, that was all I have for today. Okay. I hope you enjoyed this talk. This is Talks Radio with Tevin West. Oh, wait, before I end the show, I just wanted to let you know. Have a happy holidays. Talks Radio, Tevin West. Have a good night.